My grandson calls me every night at exactly 9:47 and asks if I'm alone. Last night I lied and told him no. I never imagined that lie would save my life. Before I tell you what happened, I need you to understand something. I'm not some action hero. I'm not a detective. I'm just Catherine Williams, 65 years old, living alone in Charleston. And 3 days ago, I thought my biggest problem was deciding what to have for dinner. Boy, was I wrong. The phone sits on the table beside me right now as I'm telling you this. Silent. My hands won't stop shaking. The tea I made an hour ago has gone cold. Through the kitchen window, I can see my reflection in the darkness outside. An old woman, you'd say, and you'd be right. But what you wouldn't see is what I'm seeing. The shadow that just moved past my back porch. The one that shouldn't be there. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning. My grandson Marcus started calling me 3 years ago, right after my husband Richard died. Every single night, same time, 9:47 exactly. And he'd always ask the same question. Grandma, are you alone? Now I know what you're thinking. That's sweet, right? A concerned grandson checking on his elderly grandmother. That's what I thought too. If I said no, had a friend over, he'd chat for a minute and hang up. If I said yes, he'd stay on the line for exactly 15 minutes. We'd talk about his day, my day. He'd remind me to lock the doors. I thought he was being protective. I thought he cared. Have you ever been completely wrong about someone you love? Drop a comment and tell me, because I need to know I'm not the only one who's been this blind. It started 2 weeks ago. Small things. Things I blamed on my age, on my memory going. My spare key disappeared from the hook by the door. I bought a new one. Figured I'd misplaced it. Then I found a cigarette butt in my garden. Fresh. Still smelled sharp. I don't smoke. Never have. Richard used to, but he quit 20 years before he died. Then the photographs started appearing. Old Polaroids, ones I'd never seen before, left in strange places. One on my car windshield, one in my mailbox, one slipped under my front door. All of them showing this house, my house, but from 30 years ago. I could tell by the old oak tree we had to cut down after the hurricane in '98. In every photo, there were people I didn't recognize. A man with dark hair by my fence, a woman in a business suit on my porch, and in the background of one photo, barely visible through the window, I could see Richard, young Richard, maybe 40 years old. Here's where I made my first mistake. I called Marcus. His voice changed instantly, went flat, cold. Where did you get those, Grandma? Who gave them to you? The way he said it made my skin crawl, like he already knew about these photos, like he'd been waiting for this call. I found them, I said. Someone's leaving them for me. Don't touch them anymore. I'm coming over. He arrived within 20 minutes. Listen to that. 20 minutes? He lives across town. That's at least a 30-minute drive. Which meant what? He was already nearby when I called, already watching. You ever get that feeling when someone you know suddenly becomes a stranger? When you look at them and realize you don't know them at all. That's what I felt when Marcus walked through my door that day. He took those photos, studied them with this expression I'd never seen before. Not concern, not confusion, recognition, like he knew exactly what he was looking at. Marcus, I said, what's going on? Nothing, Grandma. Probably just kids playing pranks. But his hands were shaking as he pocketed them. And when he left, he took my spare key. Said he'd get me a better lock. Said he'd handle everything. Said I shouldn't worry. That night, he called at 9:47 like always. Are you alone, Grandma? For the first time, I hesitated. Something in his voice sounded different, harder. Yes, I said, like I always did. Good. Make sure the doors are locked. All of them. After he hung up, I sat in the kitchen for a long time. The house felt wrong. Too big. Too many windows. I walked through each room, checking locks, pulling curtains. And in Richard's study, the one I'd barely touched in 3 years, I noticed something. The built-in bookshelf looked off. The history section seemed to stick out more than I remembered. Now I'm going to tell you something that sounds like it's from a movie, but I swear to you this is real. I pulled on one of the books. Nothing. Pulled on another. Nothing. Then I tried the thick volume about the Civil War. Click. The entire section swung forward like a door. Behind it was a safe, small metal built into the wall. I'd lived in this house for 40 years and never knew it was there. My heart was hammering so hard I thought I might pass out. I stared at that combination lock gleaming in the dim light. Tried Richard's birthday. Nothing. My birthday, nothing. Our wedding anniversary, nothing. Then I remembered something. A joke between us. Richard used to say, Our real anniversary isn't the wedding day, Catherine. It's the day I first knew I'd marry you. June 14th, 1979, 6:14:79. I spun the dial with trembling fingers. The safe opened. Now before I tell you what was inside, I need you to do something for me. If you're watching this and thinking this is just some made-up story, hit that like button. Because what I found in that safe, what I'm about to tell you, is going to sound impossible, but every word is true. Inside was a manila folder and a small black notebook. I pulled out the folder first. Documents, old ones, dated from the early 90s, partnership agreements, financial records, and a name I didn't recognize. Victor Chen, pages and pages of property investments, development deals in Charleston, numbers that made my head spin, millions of dollars moving back and forth. Then I saw the note, handwritten, clipped to the front, in Richard's handwriting. Catherine, if you're reading this, I'm gone and something has gone wrong. My hands started shaking so badly I could barely hold the paper. Victor Chen was not a legitimate businessman. I discovered too late that the partnership was a front for money laundering. By the time I understood what I'd gotten into, pulling out would have meant exposing everything, destroying our life, putting you in danger. I had to read that 3 times before my brain would accept it. My husband, my Richard, the most honest man I'd ever known, involved in money laundering. The note continued. I kept detailed records as insurance. Victor knows I have them. He knows that if anything happens to me or to you, these records go to the FBI. But Catherine, trust no one, not even family, especially not family. Victor has people everywhere, not even family, especially not family. Those words hit me like ice water. I opened the black notebook with shaking hands. Page after page of numbers, dates, names, transactions spanning from 1990 to just months before Richard's death. Millions upon millions of dollars. Then I got to the last page. At the bottom, written in Richard's careful handwriting, was a name that made my blood run cold. Marcus Williams, Associate. Initiated 2021. I'm going to say that again so you understand. Marcus Williams, my grandson, listed as an associate. Initiated in 2021, 1 year before Richard died. The phone rang. 9:47 exactly. I stared at it, my mind racing. Marcus knew about the money laundering. Marcus was involved. The nightly calls, the questions about whether I was alone, they weren't about concern. They were surveillance. The phone kept ringing. I picked it up. Grandma, are you alone? That question meant something completely different now. I looked at the notebook in my hand, at Richard's warning. Trust no one, not even family. I made a choice right then that saved my life. No, I said. My friend Janet is here. We're playing cards. The silence on the other end stretched too long. Way too long. Oh, Marcus said finally, that's nice. What time is she leaving? Not sure yet. Why? Just wondering. I might stop by later with that new lock. Don't bother, I said, keeping my voice steady, even though I was falling apart inside. I'm heading to bed early. We can do it tomorrow. Another pause. Okay, Grandma. Sleep well. He hung up. I sat there, phone in hand, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. And through the kitchen window, I saw movement. Someone in my backyard, a figure, barely visible in the darkness, moving toward the house. That's when I knew. That's when I understood what was about to happen. I grabbed the notebook and folder, shoved them into a canvas grocery bag. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I went to Richard's gun safe in the closet. He taught me to shoot when we were young, made me learn even though I hated it. The combination was the same as our real anniversary. The 9mm was still there, loaded magazine right beside it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely load it, but I did, chambered around just like Richard had taught me. Then I moved to the back door and waited in the darkness. The doorknob turned slowly. Someone was using a key, my spare key that had gone missing. The door opened inch by inch. A figure stepped inside. Not Marcus. Too short, too slim. A woman. I flipped on the kitchen light. She froze, eyes wide. Young, maybe 30, dressed in black. In her hand was a small crowbar. Get out, I said, raising the gun. My voice surprised me. It was steady, strong. Mrs. Williams, she said, hands up. Please, you don't understand. I understand someone's breaking into my house. Out. Now. Victor sent me. He knows you found the notebook. He knows Marcus has been compromised. I'm here to help you. Help me by breaking in. Because they're watching the front. She gestured toward the window. Marcus and 2 others. They're waiting for me to confirm you're alone. When I give the signal, they're coming in. We have maybe 5 minutes. Why should I believe you? She slowly lowered one hand, pulled out a phone, showed me the screen. Text messages. A thread with someone saved as V. The messages made my stomach turn. Confirm target is alone and vulnerable. Retrieve notebook by any means necessary. Eliminate if she resists. Eliminate. That's the word they used. Eliminate. Like I was a problem to be solved. Like I was garbage to be taken out. Who are you? I whispered. My name is Sarah Chen, Victor's daughter. She met my eyes. And I'm the one who's been leaving you the photographs. Trying to warn you. Trying to make you understand before it was too late. The photographs. The cigarette butts in my garden. All her. Why? Why warn me? Because my father is a monster. And I'm tired of being part of it. Because your husband spent 20 years collecting evidence against him. And because Marcus, your precious grandson, he's worse than either of them. He's the one who talked my father into eliminating you. Said you were a liability. Said you'd figure it out eventually. Tears burned my eyes. No, Marcus wouldn't. Your husband got cancer, Mrs. Williams. But did you ever question how fast it spread? How aggressive it was? The air left my lungs. No, they couldn't have. Marcus has a degree in biochemistry. Worked in a pharmaceutical lab before tech. He had access to compounds that accelerate tumor growth. Your husband suspected. That's why he warned you about family. Richard knew, in his final months, fighting that terrible cancer, watching his body betray him. He knew his own grandson had poisoned him, and he'd still tried to protect me. Have you ever felt your whole world collapse in a single moment? Comment below if you have, because I need to know I'm not alone in this. We need to go, Sarah said. Right now. I have a car 2 blocks away. FBI field office in Columbia. Turn over everything. They've been building a case for years. Your husband's notebook is the missing piece. A sound outside. Voices. Marcus calling out. Back door, Sarah hissed. Now! We ran. Through my kitchen, out into the night, across my dark yard. Behind us, I heard the front door crash open. Heard Marcus shouting my name. We cut through the neighbor's yard. Over a fence I hadn't climbed in 30 years. My hip screamed in protest. But adrenaline kept me moving. Sarah's car was a gray sedan. She shoved me into the passenger seat, started the engine. Headlights appeared behind us, Marcus's truck. He followed us through Charleston. Sarah drove fast, taking turns sharply, running yellow lights. But Marcus kept pace. He knew these streets. Sarah tossed me her phone. Call 911. Tell them you're being pursued. I dialed with shaking fingers. The operator answered. My grandson is trying to kill me, I said. The words sounded insane coming out of my mouth. I have evidence of money laundering and murder. We need help. Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. What's your location? Sarah called out street names as we flew through intersections. Help was coming. Stay on the line. Keep moving. Marcus pulled alongside us at a red light. Our eyes met through the windows. My grandson. The boy I'd raised after his mother died. The teenager I'd helped through college. The man who'd called me every night for 3 years. His face was empty, cold. He lifted something, a gun. Sarah hit the gas, ran the red light. A horn blared. Metal crunched. Our car spun. We crashed into a parked car. Airbags exploded. Everything went white. Then pain. Blood ran down my face. Sarah groaned beside me. Marcus's truck stopped beside us. He got out, gun in hand, walked to my side. I'm sorry, Grandma, he said through the cracked window. But you should have just stayed quiet. Should have just been the sweet old lady who didn't ask questions. I looked at him, at the gun, at my grandson, who'd become a stranger. Then sirens, close, getting closer. Marcus looked up, cursed, backed away, got in his truck and fled. Police cars surrounded us moments later. Paramedics, questions. I clutched the canvas bag to my chest. An FBI agent arrived. Agent Morrison. Sarah had contacted her hours earlier. I handed over the notebook, told them everything. They arrested Marcus 3 hours later at the airport. Victor Chen was taken into custody the next morning. That was 6 months ago. Marcus pleaded guilty. Conspiracy to commit murder. Accessory to murder in Richard's death. 12 financial crimes. 40 years minimum. Victor Chen is awaiting trial. His organization collapsed. Sarah testified against her father in exchange for immunity. She visits me sometimes. We have coffee. We don't talk about what happened. We talk about normal things. We're both trying to build normal lives. I still live in the house. Had the locks changed, obviously. The FBI swept it for bugs and cameras. Found 7. Marcus had been watching me for 3 years, listening, recording everything. Some nights I sit in the kitchen and think about Richard, about the secrets he carried, about how he died knowing his grandson had poisoned him, about how love and evil can exist in the same family, the same blood. The phone doesn't ring at 9:47 anymore. The silence used to bother me. Now I'm grateful for it. People ask if I'm angry, if I hate Marcus. Honestly, I don't know what I feel. He's in prison where he belongs, but he's still the little boy who used to bake cookies with me, still the teenager who cried at his grandfather's funeral. People are complicated. Evil doesn't always look like a monster. Janet really does come over for cards now. Tuesdays and Thursdays. She knows everything. Says I'm the bravest person she knows. I don't feel brave. I feel like someone who got lucky. Someone who lied at exactly the right moment. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd told the truth that night. If I'd said, yes, I'm alone, like I always did. I'd be dead. They would have broken in, taken the notebook, made it look like an accident. An old woman who fell down the stairs, had a heart attack, whatever. One lie saved my life. One simple lie. I'm 65 years old. I survived my husband's murder and my grandson's betrayal. I brought down a criminal organization that operated for 30 years. And I did it because I finally stopped trusting blindly, because I asked questions, because when something felt wrong, I listened to that feeling. The house is quiet now, safe, mine again. I've started painting the spare bedroom, the one Marcus used to sleep in, going to turn it into an art studio. Something new, something that's just mine. Last week I got a letter from Marcus. From prison. I haven't opened it. Not sure I will. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way. But I'll tell you this. I'm not the sweet old lady who doesn't ask questions anymore. I'm not the widow who needs protecting. I'm Catherine Williams. I'm 65 years old, and I'm stronger than anyone, including myself, ever knew. So let me ask you something. What would you have done in my place? Would you have trusted your instincts? Would you have fought back? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if this story made you think differently about the people you trust, about the secrets people keep, share it with someone who needs to hear it. My grandson used to call every night and ask if I was alone. Now I am, truly alone. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Better than okay, I'm free. Thanks for listening to my story. I'm Catherine Williams, and I'm still here.